Up next, another exciting lightning talk by Nicola Weedall from Hydr.
Hi everyone, my name's Nicola Weedall. I am the co-founder of a Manchester-based fintech, Hydr. I have been in the corporate finance industry for just getting on for 15 years and have moved into the fintech space around about 3 or 4 years ago, having discovered that this is the place to be and that there's always going to be a need for invoice financing, so to speak, but the world is evolving and so should the finance industry with it. So before I get on to the solution, I'll probably paint a bit of a picture about the problem itself. So if you could just bear with me and imagine that you're a small business owner. You have been working for months on securing a project with a really well-known UK business. You've worked for weeks with the team planning, executing, and then delivering the service. And then comes the day that you generate the invoice, and then you wait, and you wait, and you wait some more. The UK has a perennial problem with late payments, poor payment culture. And it's not just late payments, it's also extended payment terms, sometimes for good reason, but it's a problem nonetheless. Hydr is a fintech which is based solely around invoice financing designed purely for SMEs. We have an entirely digital onboarding process. We make underwriting decisions in real time, and it's all about leveraging the great advances in technology that we've seen over the past 5 to 6 years. And what we do is we offer 100% of the value of your invoice, paid within 24 hours of creation, and then with that, we also collect the invoice for you and protect it. So it's all about imagining a world where you got into business to do what you love, to generate invoices because you've provided those goods and services. And what you didn't want to do is have to chase that payment or wait for that payment. So Hydr has been introduced as a breaking boundaries fintech. As I say, we're based in Manchester, which I think is a little bit unusual from the fintech perspective, and also with a female founder, which again is probably breaking a few more boundaries. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to change the concept of late payments. Invoice financing is a really essential tool within any business space. It offers you the opportunity to leverage the cash tied up in invoices. And I worked in invoice finance for over 13 years and worked for a huge corporate in the UK. I'm very familiar with the complex pricing, the time in which it takes to underwrite a deal, the onboarding process, and then once you're actually onboarding, the rigor that you have to go through to ensure that your invoices are paid, that you have to reconcile on a monthly basis, the paperwork, the questions. But ultimately, there's a piece of paper with a value that you can leverage, and we really shouldn't be complicating it. And I spoke to a parent at my kid's school yesterday who said to me that they changed their career a few years ago because they fell out of love as a business owner because they had to chase invoices, and to have stopped and made that change to their career purely because they didn't want to have to wait to be paid. It just doesn't sit right at all. So Hydr is all about making sure that you get paid within 24 hours of creating that invoice. And what we've done is we haven't reinvented the wheel. Far from it. Under the hood of Hydr is a very traditional invoice financing platform. It runs with all the same levels of security. But what we're doing is we're just taking leaps, quite large leaps ahead of the UK banking scene, even some of the small independent lenders. And what we're doing is we're leveraging the data that's available. All of these masses of enhancements that we've seen in technology, open banking, cloud accounting services, it's all allowing us to do what a number of businesses do on a daily basis, but in a real-time position. So for us, it's all about making sure that you can onboard seamlessly. So we do all of our KYC checks within the app. We have our lender agreement, just as you would expect. We're not cutting any corners when it comes to the security of this business. This is purely about making sure that we optimize the digital process and take advantage of what an SME really, really wants. And then, once you've actually created the invoice, it's automatically detected by Hydr. We pay it within 24 hours, and then we go to your customer and we get that money back when it's due to be paid. So as far as you're concerned, you've invoiced and you've forgotten about it and you've been paid. Now, it's really important to us to make sure that we really value the relationships with your customers just as much as any of you do as well. And we're really working on ensuring that that relationship is just as important to us as it is to you. We do verify everything. It's a fully disclosed product, but it's all about making sure that you can be paid for the work that you've done not long after you've created that invoice. We've even gone to the extent of enhancing our technology so that as a small business user, you don't even have to reconcile within your cloud accounting package. We recently were certified on the Xero Marketplace, one of only a handful of lenders in the UK. But interestingly enough, Xero themselves have said that Hydr is the most integrated lender on their platform. And what we do is it's all about making sure that the user experience for the SME is absolutely spot on. And we've got to make sure that SMEs don't want to generate invoices. Nobody gets into business to create invoices, to chase invoices, to do reconciliations. It's just a byproduct of owning your business. So a bit earlier, like Rich said about the whole Uber experience, it's very difficult in invoice financing to make it sexy. It's not a sexy product. But I think you can make a user experience sexy, and I think that's exactly what we've tried to do here with Hydr. It's all about seamless integration. You do very little, but you get a hell of a lot out of it. So what we do is that we go through an onboarding process. It takes you 15 minutes and you're on. And I've worked in an industry where onboarding can take up to 3 months. So 15 minutes is pretty impressive. You can extract that information. We have a dashboard which allows you to stay in complete control of what you're invoicing, what you're funding, whether you want it switched on, whether you want it switched off. You are in control. And it's all about making sure that the small business owner can utilize our service to its full potential with very little touch points. So as I say, with Hydr, once you've switched on, you've gone through the onboarding, you basically just forget about it. You don't even need to come onto our platform to ask for a payment request. That invoice that you've already uploaded is immediately underwritten and then paid to you within 24 hours. Now, I'm very keen to make sure that people don't think that we've reinvented the wheel. And I'm very, very precious about my history of corporate banking in terms of ensuring that you realise that not every fintech is just some techie that's trying to make something really, really sexy and doesn't really know what's going on under the hood of it. My background is finance, absolutely zero tech. So I rely heavily on the people around me to understand exactly what we can do and what the capabilities are. But what I've really listened to over the past 4 years since the whole creation of Hydr is what the customer wants. And it's really important to build a product that customers want than to try and get your customers to want your product. And I think with Hydr, we've definitely nailed it. 15 minutes onboarding, 100% of your invoice paid, less a fixed and transparent fee. You know what you're going to pay before you even agree to come on board. And that is just so groundbreaking in terms of what the wider invoice finance market do. You get the invoice collected by a team of experts who know exactly what they're doing. And the market research shows that a professionally collected invoice is actually more likely to be paid than that of the business owner calling up his customer and saying, do you mind giving us the money for this invoice before we move on to the next project? And on top of that, it's protected. And I think the one thing that's come from COVID is the only thing that's certain is uncertainty. And in a post-Carillion world where so many small businesses failed as a result of the failure of such a big business, certainty is everything when it comes to getting your invoices paid. Now, we've worked really, really hard to make this a product that SMEs really want to thrive on. We have dynamic pricing, which allows us to price based on the behavior of your customers. But in addition to that, we actually chase the invoice when it's due. So if you offer 30-day terms and your invoice is typically paid on 90-day terms, we will still be chasing on 30 days whilst protecting your relationship. But the really important thing is as we reduce those payment terms, because our experts are expected to do that, your pricing will change and will be reduced depending on us reducing those payment terms as well. So we're really, really focused on making sure that the SME world are getting the best that they can out of their invoices with very, very little to do. So we're funding businesses in the UK, based in England and Wales, who are currently on zero. We're funding 100% of your invoice value, less a fixed and transparent fee, and we're pretty certain that once you join, you'll be really impressed. Thanks very much.